Hello, my fellow chatterers and readathon lovers. I am so excited to be doing this video. I am Chatty and welcome to my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter, where I'm going to be chatting away madly about Journeyathon, which is the readathon that I am doing in July. And I have been so excited about this for such a long time. Welcome if you are a fellow chatterer who has been here many, many times, and welcome if you've just popped in because you are curious about what on earth this is, or if you've got a bit lost. Stick around, it might be fun. So on my channel, I can't edit my videos if they're long ones because my laptop is very old and can't cope with it. So I do one shots, there is no editing. I only have the power of pause. Chaos can happen, so we just roll with it. So cheers everybody. One shot, no editing. Clink. Okay, gimmick done, intro done, we're cracking on. So I'm going to start off by kind of talking about the readathon in a nutshell. If you're someone that's not got a lot of time but you want to know what's going on, if you want more details and exciting chatter, then I will go into each bit in a lot more detail. So, pick what bits you want from it. It will be time-stamped. And there are 4 books I'm going to be talking about. So if you want more information on those, I have got their Storygraph links in the description. So click on those and you can get a synopsis, reviews, and any trigger warnings as well. Okay, in a nutshell, this readathon is happening from, I have my notes, Friday, June the 30th at midnight, which is also technically Saturday, July the 1st. In the very 000 hours of the day. And it will be continuing until Friday, July the 14th at midnight, which you could also say is Saturday, July the 15th at 000. So there we go. That is the limit of which I will be pushing this, responding to this, being excited about this, and doing stuff about it. More onto that later. For this readathon, all you need to do is read 1 middle grade book. That's it. That's all you need to do to take part. I just want people to give middle grade a chance and try it if they feel like they haven't before but would quite enjoy it. But obviously if you are an avid middle grade reader and want some middle grade, you can go nuts. You can read for the whole of July if you want to. Just go for it with the middle grade love. If you're someone that's just dipping your toe in and you feel it would be a lot to just read middle grade, then as long as you read 1 book, that's absolutely fine. If you want to use the prompts to read any other age ranges like YA or adult or even picture books, go for it. It's totally up to you what you read. I just want us all to have a lot of fun with this. So although I'm only doing this for 2 weeks, there is no set finish. You are welcome to carry on for as long as you want. But I can only kind of commit to 2 weeks of focusing in on this. So we'll see how it all goes. I really want this readathon to be all about reading at your own pace and just having fun, really. That's kind of the aim of the game. So what is Journeyathon? Well, it has a map and all of these places on this map and the way you get to them inspire the prompts, which I will go through a little bit later on, but essentially there are 4 different journeys. So the 4 different journeys are the magic path, where you use portal travel, and then for that you can sort of read anything to 1 to 4 books. You have got the air path, where you use travel through the sky, and that is 5 books. And then you have the water path, which is sea travel, and you read 7 books, or the earth path, which is land travel, where you would read 9 books. But amongst all of that, you can swap between paths, you can mix and match, do what you like. It's very much kind of aimed at how much you feel you're going to read within 2 weeks and kind of what you want to do. So I've tried to make it as flexible as possible because we all read at different paces, we all have different commitments, we all, with the best intentions in the world of what you're hoping to do, life happens and it all kind of goes out the window. But I want everyone to still feel that they can be involved and taking part and doing it how they like. Okay, there are 19 prompts, I know. Obviously, I am not expecting anyone to be reading 19 prompts. It depends on where you go and what paths you choose as to kind of which ones you pick up. All of that information is going to be in a Google Docs folder, and the link will be in the description box. So it will include things like the prompts, like the paths, and have some printable bits as well, so you can have a lot of fun with it. I'm hoping to do 5 live sprints throughout the 2 weeks. And I'm going to, again, go into more details about when those will be, but I'll also have that information either in the community section of my YouTube channel, in the Discord, and in the Google Docs as well. So there's lots of different places you can find the information. And you can ask, that's fine too. And I can just point you to where you should go. And I won't do it, Cheshire Cat way. So there is a channel on, I have a Discord channel called Middle Grade Mad Chat, and there are specific Journey-a-thon channels and chats in there, which will give you all of this information as well. There's space on there for you to ask specific questions, place on you to chat, share what you're reading. There'll be the graphics on there and all of that good stuff. I'm going to be doing 2 videos doing middle grade book recommendations. So there will be one coming up, which is the Magic and Earth paths, and then another one coming up which will be the air and water paths. So there's going to be a lot of middle grade recommendations coming up, so if you're not sure, look out for those. This readathon has very much been inspired by many readathons that have gone before it, but also a love of middle grade and maps. And I really wanted to highlight 4 middle grade books. And the map and the journeys have kind of been inspired by those 4 middle grade books. So I am going to introduce them to you. So obviously my channel, Tatty the Mad Chatter, is based on Alice in Wonderland, Mad Hatter Tea Party, all of those things. So I couldn't not have that as one of the books in here. So Alice and Her Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, or equally you can read Alice Through the Looking Glass, either one will count, is the inspiration, one of the 4 inspiration books behind this. I also have, and that's by Lewis Carroll, obviously, children's classic. I also have Catty Wampus by Ash Van Otterloo as well. So this is another inspiration book behind it. I feel it's not quite so well known, that's why I really wanted to highlight it because I had a really good time with it. And we have, now this is not the book. I have printed off a copy and put it on because I couldn't get it out of my local library. I don't actually own this book. It's on my wish list, but I haven't quite finished my book buying ban yet. But obviously I wanted a visual with this book. So this is the Lizzie and Belle Mysteries, the first book in that series, Drama and Danger. The second book came out recently, Portraits and Poisons, and this is by J.T. Williams. And again, I'm going to be talking more about this book later on. And then finally, we have See You in the Cosmos by Jack Cheng. And again, love this book, want to highlight it more. And we will go through the map and you will see, or you can see if you can guess which paths you think were inspired by which books. Okay, that is, I think, all of, oh no, one more thing. So this readathon can be as basic or as complicated as you want to be. If you're someone that really likes kind of getting into kind of like treasure hunting and journaling and all of that stuff, then you can go wild. If you literally just are happy that other people are having fun, but you just want to read a bit of a great book and you don't really need anything else going on, that is absolutely fine too. But if you do want to go all in, I am doing like a little point system as well. And the idea is just for kind of boost you and kind of like show your progress. And like I said, you don't have to just do this in the 2 weeks that I'm focusing on it. You know, you can take all year. If you want to rack up the total amount of points and do it over the whole year, go you. That will be awesome. And I'm hoping that I love doing this, that it's fun, and I bring it back again next year. And if I do, those points will then mean something for next year is my plan. Okay, I'm now going to have some tea. That's the nutshell done. And we're going to go full in for more detailed chats. Okay. So my inspiration for this readathon. I absolutely love readathons. If you have been on my channel, I have a full playlist called, oh no, I can't remember what it's called. It's something about readathons. It's totally gone out of my head what it's actually called. But I do a lot of little readathon. I'm excited for this readathon and there's a playlist of them. Anyway, so I have always wanted to do my own one, and I knew it was going to be middle grade, and I knew I wanted to make it as fun with graphics as possible. And it's kind of like amalgamated and sort of paying homage to all the many readathons that have gone before it. So I just wanted to shout them out and just thank them. I feel it unlikely any of the creators would be watching, but I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate your hard work. So I really appreciate all the fun readathons that I've taken part in. Magical Readathon, as you know, I have, if you've been on my channel, I have a whole like Magical Readathon playlist of how involved I like to get in that one. I really enjoyed Bookopoly and playing that game. And I really enjoyed, and this is probably the one that's inspired me the most, and that is Gavin from How to Train Your Gavins, Believeathon 2, because that one had a map, and that I love a map. I love a map. Maps make me so happy. If the book's got a map, I'm very excited. So all of those sort of like fun things, I knew I really kind of wanted to incorporate that same sense of fun into this. So thanks for all those readathons. I love having fun with them, and hopefully like people will enjoy having fun with mine. And as I kind of got more into BookTube and explored a bit further, I enjoyed some other readathons as well that hadn't come when I was like starting to step outside my just little fantasy little hole. I really enjoyed that some readathons had group reads. So Blackathon, run by Jessie from YouTube, included group reads for different teams, and they were very themed as well, so I enjoyed all of that kind of aspect. And Middle Grade March, they have a group read for Middle Grade March. Obviously love middle grade. So I wanted to kind of have books that I wanted to focus on, so not necessarily that we do like a read all together, but I wanted to highlight, and if people did want to kind of join in and read them, then I wanted that to be kind of something that people could get together and do as well. I also like the freedom of kind of reading at your own pace and trying to feel like less pressured to complete it, because we all have busy lives and people just read at different paces, and I really wanted, I didn't want people to feel disheartened by it and feel like, oh, you can only kind of do it if you're someone that can, you know, bang out 10 books a month or 15 books a month or whatever. I wanted people to be able to still feel like a sense of ownership and things. So I know Maddie's Whatever You Wantathon readathon was a big inspiration behind everything being about kind of like you knowing your own reading pace and setting your own goals, and it being more about you exploring kind of what you wanted to, rather than feeling you had to hit as many prompts as possible. I also really enjoyed the themes of other readathons. So Blackathon I've already mentioned, Gothtober with Hannah from Ladder M and Olivia's Catastrophe. I love how they theme all of their prompts around the kind of theme they have each time for Gothtober. It was really fun. And the Olympic Games, done by lots of booktubers from Shelf Space, how they kind of had the theme for each Greek god reflected in what the prompt was. So I knew when I was coming up with my prompts, I wanted to kind of theme it and kind of base them sort of around the books with like little nods towards the books that inspired them. And also I kind of wanted to have ones that were, you know, we're just starting off, it's early days. I wanted to kind of have them being a little bit more flexible as well. All of those readathons, thank you so much. I have amazing time, and I hope you all viewers have similar amount of fun on mine, because that's the aim of the game. All of this BookTube is about, although it's about highlighting books and talking about books and all those wonderful things, you know, we're here because we love reading. It's fun, and we all want to have a bit of joy in our lives. And this is my creative outlet. This is my fun time. So I have my 4 books that inspired the readathon, and I really wanted to make sure I had kind of a range, because obviously my go-to is whimsical fantasy with my middle grade reading. I do read a smattering of other things, but I wanted to make sure that I reflected a range of genres, and I also wanted to make sure that I represented kind of more of a mixed society. I can't read my own writing. I've written something here. Okay, yeah. So I feel I've covered this as much as possible. That's why you shouldn't do notes at midnight when you're falling asleep. I think I've covered this as much as possible within the 4 books I've chosen, and also making sure that these are all books that I love. I didn't want to just have a book that was like, well, it's okay, and I just put it because I felt I needed to have a thriller book in here. They are all ones that I love, and I'm so excited to share them with you, which I'm going to do now. I'm going to introduce all of the books, but before I do that, I need to do a massive thank you. So let me again show you the beautiful map here. Here it is. We've got all of these places. There are 9 places on this map. Also my graphic, there we go here, the Journeyathon logo. This has all been created by my amazing friend, Vicky. Thank you so much for all your help with this and just for creating this. I am so lucky to have you in my life, and to not only did I sort of have to say, so I do this booktube thing. They do this thing called a readathon. I had to kind of like fully break apart what a readathon was, what I was trying to do, and then go, so I kind of want a place that reminds me of the caterpillar's mushroom with like smoke, but also looks like a house. And then she produced this beauty, and I was just blown away by her interpreting my vision so wonderfully, and even more than I could possibly imagine. And I'm so delighted she went overboard on that one, because then she had to do that same standard, because she's an artiste. She had to do the same standard for all the other places. So I lucked out on that. So thank you so much, Vicky. I also really want to thank my guardians of middle grade, Vidania Silver Scribe from Vidania Silver Scribe, Talia from Bandana Book Mum, and Kelly from Kelly Reads a Lot, who I've been able to kind of like share my excitement with about creating this, and being able to kind of like ask her opinions on, do you think this will work? And just their cheering really helped me kind of like carry on and put all this together. So I just want to thank all of those wonderful people. And if you do not know their channels and have not seen them, please go and visit them. They all have really kind souls, read a range of books, and are very magical, warm-hearted people. Okay, on to the book intros now. So let's start off with Alice in Wonderland. Ta-da, here she is. So I wanted to make sure I had a children's classic on here to start to focus on, this has been beloved for a long time. If you wanted to have the opportunity to read it, this is highlighting it and giving it your, I don't know where I was going with the sentence, so let's pretend I didn't say it. I wanted to highlight a classic. So if you were planning on wanting to read a children's classic, this is highlighting it, prompting, there we go, that's the word, prompting you to pick it up. So that is why Alice in Wonderland is one of the books on here. So Alice is the inspiration for, ta-da! Oh, I don't know how this is going to work. There we go. The magic path. So this is the magic symbol for the magic path. This is the quickest path on the Journeyathon, because portal transportation, you're instantly there. So obviously you're going to need to read less books. You can just skip around a little bit more easily than you would on any of the other paths. So we have got portal travel inspired by Alice in Wonderland. So we are using the magical looking glass to get around on the magic path. So if that sounds like fun for you and you only want to read a few books, then this is probably going to be your champion. And Alice has inspired 2 of the places on the map. So I'm just going to show you the map now. Let's have a look. So we have Prologoton. We have, I'm going to take that off my finger now. We have the Smoky Mushroom. We have Boardwalk Theatrics. We have Observatory Towers, Whittleaway Village, the Grombies, Camp Launchpad, Sancho's Artistic Port, and Sitio Party. So if just for fun you wanted to guess which book belongs to which prompts, feel free to have a go now. 1933 on the time. Let me know what you think the inspirations for Alice in Wonderland were. They are probably the easiest ones on here. So I'm now going to tell you. So if you didn't want to know, if you want to play that little game, you better pause now, because I'm going to tell you. So the first stop on our Journeyathon, the Smoky Mushroom. is obviously inspired by the lovely caterpillar who has his shisha pipe, and Alice takes one side of the mushroom and the other side of the mushroom. So that is the inspiration for the first point, the smoky mushroom. Once I've gone through all the books, I'm then going to go through all the prompts and tell you what they are. And the second inspiration on here, if you hadn't already guessed, it's where we all want to end up. We all want to end up at the City of Party. We want to go to the City of Party here and drink tea, eat cake and hang out, because why not? So there we go, Alice in Wonderland. And this is my cute little copy from my mum, and it says on the back, "Where in the world am I?" Ah, that's the great puzzle. I often feel like that. I stand in front of the fridge and go, why am I here? And I also have my big pretty copy up there as well, my illustrated picture one, that's just being prettiness at the moment. Okay, the second book. So, inspired by Catawampus. Catawampus by Ash van Otterloo. We have The Flight Path. So using sky travel, so this is a symbol here for the flight, not flight, air. Can't even remember my own readathon. Right, air. This is the air path, inspired by sky travel, and they are using flight. They are using a broomstick. So if you're taking the air path, you are traveling by broomstick. So that's going to be pretty fast. Not as fast as portal travel, but a lot faster than the others. So this one covers 5 prompts. So you only need to read 5 books for this one. Now, this is where I say the readathon is inspired by the books. It's not actually the books, because although this featuring 2 witches here, Katie Bird and Delpha, they don't actually use broomsticks in this book. But I wanted a broomstick to be the flight method of travel. So we've got tenuous links, but that's completely fine. Catawampus is a paranormal fantasy. We have witches, we have this sort of like cozy village in, there is a word for it. Just going to find the word for it. Yeah, so it features Appalachian culture, which, being from the UK, is not something I was aware of. The closest kind of understanding I got was like, it's like Walton country. But from reading this, I got a real sense of what it was all about, all the handicraft, all the basket weavings, the whittling, all of the crafts and the quilting, and all of that kind of homemade feel and like community. It felt very, very cozy. Underneath that, you have got this kind of suspicion of magic. So there are 2 witch families in this community, and there is a feud between them. They are civil now, but they have had history where they did not get on at all. And these 2 girls, for unforeseen circumstances, end up kind of having to work together. They've both got kind of different chips on their shoulders, not the right word, but different life, personal situations that they are dealing with. Delpha is feeling a little bit frustrated by her mum not wanting her to practice magic, and their sort of like poverty situation. And Katie Bird is dealing with the fact that magic passes from female to female in her family. And Katie Bird is intersex. So she is female, but she is intersex. So she is questioning, is her magic not working because she's not your typical female? And it was a really lovely exploration of an intersex character. She was very secure in herself and who she was, but did not appreciate people being sympathetic, like having sympathy for her because of being intersex. And she's like, why are you feeling sorry for me? You don't need to feel sorry for me. I'm completely fine. And I thought it was really explored beautifully in this kind of like natural worry that she was trying to deal with. And also she's sort of more like the older sibling is kind of more responsible. So she's kind of like taking on those feelings that she needs to work this out herself. And the magic from the 2 families is very different, which was a lot of fun. There is also a third person that kind of comes into this as part of their little gang, and just kind of exploring, dealing with the situation that's happened. It's a lot of fun. There's also like both characters go on journeys of kind of like self-acceptance and like growth in their confidence and their abilities, and having important discussions with their families and working out when to ask for help. And I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed this book a lot. So I'm really excited to share it with you, and hopefully some of you will pick it up and give it a whirl, and we can all have a fun time. So the places inspired by Catuwampus are Whittle Away Village. So here we have the love of crafts and the appreciation of all the homemade things. We've got the porches and the verandas, and we've got a little treehouse in there as well with all of like their bits and pieces. And then one of my favourite places on here is the Grombies. So the Grombies is a graveyard where there are some kind of granny zombies emerging from the graves. And there's magic, there's a weird green glow, and there's a walking shed. And that's all I'm going to tell you. And that is just bits and pieces from the book that I threw together in a place and called it the Grombies, because it's like granny zombies. It's one of my favourite ones. So yeah, so there's the two places inspired by the Air Path and Catuwampus. Okay, so the third book that we are looking at on Journey-a-thon is a mystery book. Not only a mystery, it's a historical fiction mystery. So we've got a couple of genres in there for you, and you might have heard me talking a bit about this. This is the Lizzie and Belle mystery, drama and danger. So here we have two historical figures that we see in here working together. So it's using historical figures, it's using history, but fictionalizing it and making it come to life in a children's mystery book. So not only that, is they are Black historical figures. So we are seeing Black history in the Georgian period. So we have Lizzie Sancho, who is here in the breeches and shirt running. And Lizzie Sancho is the daughter of Ignatius Sancho, who was an artist. He was a poet, he was a musician. I think he dabbled in acting. He also owned sort of like a tea and grocery shop, and was kind of like, that was kind of like the sort of like part of the like artists and like literary people, and also revolutionaries is the wrong word, but like activists would gather at his tea shop. And he was the first Black man to vote in the UK. So it's really fun to be following his daughter. And she teams up with Dido Bell. And Dido Bell is there's a portrait of her. I can't remember the name of the portrait, but it's her and her cousin. And she was brought up at Kenwood House by her sort of adopted family to a certain extent. Her biological father's uncle raised her up within the family, but she is an illegitimate daughter, but she is she was treated as a gentlewoman and a lady's companion, although she still was not on the same equal footing as someone else would have been, who was legitimate and white. But she's a historical figure, and it's a wonderful kind of imagining of what would happen if they paired up and solved mysteries together. And I really love how their characters are very, very different. So Dido is here in this sort of like quite pretty green Regency style dress. And she is a lot more kind of theory-based and research-based, and Lizzie is a lot more kind of practical-based, but they both work so well together solving this mystery. It's all based around like theatre playhouses. The author has imagined, what would happen if Ignatius Sancho was chosen to play the part of Othello in the Georgian period. So behind all of that, you've got the working on slavery being abolished. So it is still very scary to be Black in Georgian London, and the potential of ships being used to take Black people and just sell them as slaves. like press gang type of situation, like kidnapping, press gang, human trafficking kind of feeling to it. And all of this was kind of touched on in here. The historical detail in here was really lovely. And sort of like their case notes were really fun to read. And I had such a good time with them. I thought the characters were brilliant. And there's a warm family vibe from Lizzie's one, and sort of more a kind of a peaceful tranquility from Belle's life. And it was just really fun to kind of see them appreciate kind of like what each other had as well as what they had in their lives. And there was a little bit of kind of like envying, but like important friendship discussions as well. And this was just a really great book. I really enjoyed this one. So that book inspired the Waterpath. So with the Waterpath, we are doing sea travel on a ship. And again, loosely inspired. There is activity around sort of the docks and the ports in London, and ships kind of seen and coming in, and there was a little bit of waterway travel in that, but it's not a huge part of the story, but I'm taking it. And so for this one, if you follow the whole of the Waterpath, you would end up reading 7 books. And this one on the map is Boardwalk Theatrics. So embracing the theatre style of which is kind of the backdrop scene to Drama and Danger, and also like the idea of kind of being near water, and also Sancho's artistic port, where, you know, grab some tea, have some wonderful literary chats in cafes on the little port docks. And I love that my friend has turned the boats into teacups, which is just genius. One more book to go. So the final book, bashing the shelves there, is See You in the Cosmos by Jack Cheng. This is a contemporary book and has one of the sweetest protagonists in here, and it's just so joyful. It has a whole journey in it. There's some delightful people you meet on the way, and I think it's done so well in that you get this innocence of the character, this trustingness of the character, but you also have some kind of adults pointing out that this might not be safe, but we're going to help you. And it was just really such a heartwarming book. And if you are someone that really enjoys characters and sort of like character emotions, I think you're going to have a really good time with this one. Alex, our main character, is really interested in space and rockets, and has followed all the kind of like space activities going on. Like they've launched an iPod into space where there's lots of different things playing on it, like the sound of whales. So if there is other life out there, this is what they would find to kind of learn more about humans. And Alex really wants to do that. He wants to capture certain sounds so that people can, species, beings, life can hear about them. And the whole story is told through his podcast. So he is making a little podcast, and it's like podcast entries. And sometimes other characters will be like narrating it, like talking into his podcast. And sometimes you'll get little like comments from like not off screen, like off microphone that you can kind of pick up. So it's a really fun way of telling the story. It's so heartwarming. You learn about Alex's family and also about his kind of like tenacity and determination as well. And it's just an absolutely lovely story. Oh, and it inspired the final path on this journey-a-thon, which is the Earth path, where we are traveling on land and we are walking. So it's obviously going to take the longest because walking does. And so if you follow all the prompts for that one, you would be reading 9 books. And the places on the map that have been inspired by See You in the Cosmos are observatory towers. So here you can see we've got this giant telescope, a 50s diner, and a dog kennel. So if you read this book, you will see that those things are important to Alex. And then we also have Camp Launchpad, where we've got this wonderful campsite out in the desert, and they are able to kind of meet up and launch rockets together. So there we go. That is all the places on the map. That is all the journeys. That is all the inspiration from the books. And I'm now going to go into the bit you've probably been waiting for, and that is the prompts themselves. So again, I'm going to have more tea. I'm going to hot it up because it's gone cold now because I've been talking for so long. So I have my very useful little notebook. Look, it's from Laura Ellen Anderson's website, and it's got Rainbow Grey and Amelia Fang being friends together. It says, wobbling weather vanes, I have a fantastic idea. I thought there is no better use for this notebook than for me to put my journey-a-thon bits and pieces in it. So I've got all my prompts in here. Bibbidi-bibbidi. Okay, so I'm going to go through the prompts first and then kind of talk through the different journeys that you can use on the map. Okay, so I have another map that is all, you've got the journey path on here. So we have got the earth path is the orange footprints. We have got the air path, which is these little swirly blue bits here. We have got the water path, which is all of the waves, and the magic path are these purple stars. So those are all going to be in the Google Drive, so you can have them and see them more easily at your leisure. So the first prompt, also there was one place I didn't talk about, and that is Prologoton. As you can see on here, there we go. This is Prologoton. So this is just the prologue of the journey, and it's just sort of like fairy tale-esque type of village where the story starts out. So for the first place, Prologoton, you need to read a book featuring a mode of transport on the cover. And that can be anything that you used to get around. So it can be a unicycle. It could be a giant bird. It could be roller skates. It can be walking. So it can be anything like that. But if it's stationary, like if there's someone standing, they're not walking, they're standing. So that's only where I draw the line. Apart from that, as long as you can move by it, that absolutely counts. And that has to be depicted on the front cover. So that is the prompt for that one. And then we start off on our different paths. So from Prologoton, we can choose the magic path. And for that one, to get to the smoky mushroom via the magic path, you need to read a book with something crazy or unusual on the cover, inspired by the crazy and unusual book Alice in Wonderland. So talking animals, a mermaid, a troll, you know, someone sitting on a chair upside down, anything slightly off that's a bit strange would count for that prompt. And like I said, I am going to be doing Rex videos, so look out for them if there's still ones you're a little bit confused by what would count for. So then if you go from Prologoton to Smoky Mushrooms on the air path, you would need to read a book with a disaster pictured on the front cover. So this is a catastrophe inspired by Catty Wampus. We want some sort of giant big oops, some sort of accident. So anything like, you know, animals escaping or broken vases or sort of terrified faces hinting that there's been an accident. Or I feel like there is one of these books out there, but I haven't found it. If you have a copy of Anne of Green Gables where